Okay, we're going to start again. But this is the schedule. Right now we're here at Fair Oaks, and we're going to be walking down some of these. We are doing mostly Sacramento for most of the week, but after that we're going to be moving over to Roseville because it seems that SAC libraries do not allow you to reserve more than 6 rooms at one time. Every 6 months you can reserve another 6. Unfortunately, this time we are running out of time and need to be running and getting signatures, and this is not working very well. We have nobody showing up, which is too bad, but you know, this is the thing. I'm running a very low-cost campaign. There is no money, and I'm not taking donations. Donations are bribes. And so that's what you get. Now, if you want to see changes in your representation that does not base itself on corporations who are not necessarily doing things that are in your best interest, keep doing what you're doing, and they'll take away all your rights. They are working on it day and night, but do something that they don't expect. Vote for me and get me into Congress, and I'm going to shake things up. Okay, let's get started on this. Now, one of the things that I found out in my running for Congress is that there was the Tavistock Institute. Now, Tavistock was formed after World War I, and you can find it on Wikipedia. And basically, Tavistock, Tavistock Institute, very good place. Basically, they taught the parties that if you keep people afraid all the time and run a 3-ring circus where you've got something going all the time, like Ukraine war and now Israel and next, who knows. But we need to recognize when we're being set up. And unfortunately, it is hard to. If you don't learn from history, you are condemned to repeat it. And, you know, the thing is that Israel was a victim of World War II. They learned an awful lot from victimology. And now that they have their own country, they are recreating the situation where they are the abusers and the Palestinians are the abused. Now, this is generational. It's what happens to people in abusive homes. The abused become the abusers, and this is one of the things. And this latest problem in Israel was very interesting because Israel has one of the most hair-trigger reaction times of any country, and the involvement with the this group, Hamas, was planned a long time ago. And apparently, these attackers were practicing for a year before they were led across the border in 15 places. And in the first 5 hours, nobody did anything except for the groups that were manning the outposts, and they were pretty much slaughtered to the man. But you see, this is something that they learned from the Germans. When the Germans were getting ready to invade Poland, they needed a reason to invade. And outside of Gdansk, Poland, there was a radio station, a German radio station, and a group of Polish soldiers were captured by the Germans, and they were stripped of their uniforms, and German soldiers put on the Polish uniforms and attacked that radio station, killing almost everybody. They needed some people to recognize that, yes, these were Poles that were doing this atrocity. And they left the bodies of some of the captured Poles dressed in their uniforms and then shot. So to work as window dressing for the German newspapers the next day. And so with that outrage, they ran their invasion of Poland. And it did not go well for the Jews. The Jews were segregated into ghettos, and they were able to stop food coming in, and a lot of people were very good at sneaking food to the Jews, and rightly so. But instead of learning something from the abuse, they learned something all right, but they learned how to be abusers. And this is what they've done in Palestine. The Palestinian people are the most abused of any group in the current world, unfortunately. They have been segregated and minimized. And there is a movie called 1948, and it talks about the annexation of, Jerusalem and Israel, a Palestinian country, by the Israelis, and it's fairly graphic. What they did to the Palestinians was criminal, but they got away with it. And the British and the Americans and the French, I believe, all armed the Israelis and turned them loose on the Palestinians. That area should have been a heaven on earth, but Israel turned it into a horror show. If you're Palestinian, they want you dead. And this whole thing, this fight that they've got us in, or they're trying to get us in, is primarily to get the U.S. to join the Israelis in the genocide of the Palestinians. And this is pathetic. We need to not do this. This is causing more problems than we can imagine. And, so basically what we need to do is to learn how to live with others and learn how to, you know, during the early days of the settlement of Spain, there was a large colony of Israelis who lived with the Spanish people, and they were wonderful. They taught them math and science and an awful lot of things that you know, the Moors did not have, and the Moors became very astute people. And here we are. We are getting wound up to fight another war, a second war, and an awful lot of the weaponry not coming from Iran. It's coming from the U.S. and the black market. A lot of those weapons came to Ukraine to help with their war. $150 billion worth. And that is what got put on, you know, most of the weaponry got put onto the black market, where it got sold to different insurgent groups. And, you know, in some ways, we've paid for that weaponry multiple times, and we really ought to just have a big bonfire of all of it. It's just not helping anybody. And, you know, some of the things that we've done, we've committed the biggest ecological terrorist act by blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. Russia had control of the spigot. They could turn it on or turn it off. You didn't have to blow it up. But they wanted to take it out of the hands of the Russians. Okay, so they blew it up. Russians turned it off. But the thing was, is that now they're shipping it in Chinese freighters to China. And Europe is buying that oil fairly cheaply compared to the tar sand that we're trying to sell. And it's horrific. We should not be doing that. We are hurting ourselves and the rest of the world. And, you know, we haven't even seen the end of this yet, because the Ukraine was the breadbasket for almost all of Europe and much of Africa and a lot of other countries. But they have been fighting a war and not growing the winter wheat. So that breadbasket is empty. And that's our doing. We should have stopped this war 20 years ago by stopping the funding of NATO. Our imperialism is getting way out of hand, and we've got to stop it. It's hurting a lot of people. And, you know, it shouldn't be this way. We should be working with people, expanding, you know, marketplaces rather than putting sanctions on people and people's business. What we're doing is outrageous. And I'm sorry, but the oligarchs are wrong. They really need to stop doing what they're doing. They're hurting people. And not even just a little bit, a lot. And we need to be working with others and showing that, you know, we can live in peace. And there are things that can be done to help control population and justification, which is most of the problem that we have. But, well, one last thing I wanted to talk about was we have an aquifer underneath us that is 1,800 feet deep. And Folsom, their aquifer is only about 40 to 50 feet deep, maybe 60. And all the TCE and perchlorate that Aerojet makes flows downhill into our aquifer. Now there are things that we can do. Bobby Barra has installed tracking mechanisms so that we can track where the perchlorate and the TCE are. Well, that's wonderful, except it doesn't do anything about it. If you don't do anything about it, it's as if you did nothing, except spend an awful lot of money, and he's getting quite a bit of money for this. We can solve it in a month. There is a methodology called bioremediation, where you inject an anaerobic bacteria down into the aquifer to eat the TCE perchlorate. It eats chlorinated hydrocarbons very well. And if you do that, you're in good shape. Basically, it ends up being just water with some salts in it. And this is what we are trying to do. And so, this has been a failure tonight, except that we have done some recording, which is good. But we were not able to draw anybody. I couldn't get clarification if I had the room or not until today. There was no time to announce this. There was no time to try and drum up interest. But, oh well, that's life. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and fold it up because it doesn't look like anybody's coming to the party. Okay, have a good night. Bye.